If you were to go to Washington, D.C. right now and tour the U.S. Capitol, you'd find many members of both the House and the Senate are actually at home on an extended summer break right now. It's called district work, and it has not been a vacation by any means if you followed any headlines, especially here in Oklahoma. Joining me on the program tonight to speak unedited about many of those headlines is Oklahoma Republican U.S. Senator James Lankford himself. Senator, I know I'm going to get a million questions if I do not start this conversation by asking, what are your feelings on the Epstein files, and how are we as a nation going to move forward from this?
Yeah, this is one more conspiracy whole thing that's out there that's going to be hard until we get all information out, make everything public, and let everything deal with. We still have folks that believe we never landed on the moon. I get that. We're still arguing about the JFK assassination. The more information we can get out, the better. What we're losing in all of this is how incredibly horrible this was for so many of these young girls, how many victims are out there. Whatever we put out needs to make sure we're actually protecting those folks. Many of them are older now. They don't want them and their families continue to be able to get drugged through all this over and over and over again. So let's get justice for those victims of all this. Let's make sure that actually justice is coming. Let's get as much transparency as we can while still protecting all those victims. And let's try to be able to move on as a country.
Secretary Linda McMahon was in town. I know you all had a conversation. How did things go on your end down the turnpike?
Yeah, it was good to be able to visit with Secretary McMahon. She's welcome in our state. It's good to be able to have that. She's traveling literally all 50 states to be able to visit with educators, trying to be able to answer questions about the importance of local control for education, how the federal government can back up and not try to be able to control education. We forget how much has really changed just in the last 20 years. We went through a cycle of No Child Left Behind with federal control of all education nationwide, to us in a bipartisan way determining we don't want to actually have federal education controlling everything. So we've hit that peak of federal control, and we're on the other side of it, say the states need to be able to run this. That's the area for innovation. Mississippi, which was very low in test scores not that long ago, has now experienced what they call the Mississippi Miracle, where they've invested in their teachers, they've invested in education in a new way. They're doing new testing, they're doing new techniques, they're doing more phonics and education and reading, they're doing more study and math to be able to make sure they're up to speed. And Mississippi is now one of the top states in the country for education. So this can be done. It's changing how we do education and continuing to be able to prioritize education as a state. So for her to be able to talk about what can our state do to innovate more, what can the federal government do to be out of the education business more and more and more to allow our state to be able to take the lead is better for us as a country.
But I did ask her, and I'm sure the people of Mississippi are fine. We are 50th in education, and Mississippi is now better than us. Are we sure we want to hand this back to us here in the state who haven't really been handling it well as we speak?
You know, I actually spoke to a group of companies earlier today, and they brought up the issue about education. And I said, education should be a priority for us, but it shouldn't be just about go elect someone and they go fix education. We as a people have got to be engaged. We spend so much time criticizing teachers and criticizing superintendents and not enough time actually volunteering at the school. Parents reading to kids, individual businesses and small businesses giving their employees time to be able to get off work, to be able to go to a local school, to be able to work alongside a teacher, to be able to read to kids that are behind, to be able to spend time investing in the classroom in the areas that they need. We can do this as communities, as individual businesses and individual citizens, find ways to be able to partner with schools to be able to help them. Every school I know would love to have more dads walking the hallways and helping out at lunch and helping out at recess. Every school that I know would love to have more people actually partnering with a specific classroom to be able to get them what they need and to be able to walk alongside kids who need a little extra help each week in that classroom. So for us, it's a decision for us to say we got to stop complaining about where we are and to actually engage in practical ways to be able to help students and teachers.
Something I talked to the secretary about, and I know you don't have 60 votes to completely abolish this department, but how do you carry out that plan of getting rid of the Department of Education? She had talked about putting some things maybe in justice when it comes to student rights and some other things in Treasury. Does that go in a budget reconciliation bill while you all have power? How do you move forward with that?
Yeah, what Secretary of Education has proposed is to say, let's do the essential things that are required by statute in the law and not do the things that are not essential. The Department of Education is doing a lot of things that is not required by law. And so the secretary began with, let's put our emphasis on the things that are required by law, do those things and do those things well. The second thing is things like student loans, for instance. There's a whole student loan department in the Department of Education, but the student loans are actually managed over in the Treasury Department. So we do literally have two bureaucracies managing this, both the collection and the administration of it. Her recommendation is put all the student loan area actually in the Treasury Department so we have much less bureaucracy and we can actually put more dollars actually on education and less on the bureaucracy of actually managing the student loan program. We have the same thing in some of the other programs that are out there, for instance, for Pell Grants. That's really a workforce development, but it's not in the Department of Labor. It's actually in education. So the question is, where should that be? For the Bureau of Indian Education, that's not with the Bureau of Indian Affairs. That's actually with the Education Department. Should those actually work together with the Bureau of Indian Affairs and the Bureau of Indian Education? Should they partner together or have two different bureaucracies for this? So some of these are not questions about doing away with programs. It's trying to figure out how to be able to actually administer it in a way that's much more effective to actually accomplish the task rather than paying people to be able to do something that another agency is also paying people to do something to do.
What is the next big thing? You had the big, beautiful bill. What is the bigger, beautifuler next step, I guess you could say, that y'all are working on?
Yeah, we have so many things to be able to do this fall. We've got to get nominations done. This nomination process is broken down. Most nominations in the past were done by what's called voice votes. They were non-controversial. This is the deputy assistant secretary of some agency. It's not a controversial nominee. It's someone that is passed through committee. Most of those passed by voice vote. My Democratic colleagues have blocked every single one of those. All of them require a 3-hour process to be able to pass. We have 1,200 people that have to go through the nomination process. If I go back to the time of Barack Obama, 90% of the people passed by voice vote, 90%. Now under President Trump, it's 0%. This is non-operable. So we got to be able to figure out the nomination process or we'll never be able to get to legislation. We've also got 12 appropriation bills that are required by law for us to get done. The National Defense Authorization, the second half of the Farm Bill still needs to be done. We've got areas on transportation law that need to be finished up. FAA reauthorization, which is very important for all of us. That's got to get done. So there's a lot of bills that need to be done, but we can't get to them because every one of the nominations are being blocked and it's consuming all the floor time. So we got to get to some negotiation of how we're going to solve the nominations. And then we still got to be able to deal with the budget with our national defense areas.
I've been working at Fox 23 for about 11 years now. And we've been talking about levies even before then.
Yeah.
I hear you do have an update on the levies. Is that right?
I do, actually. So I've worked on the levies the entire 10 years that I have been in the Senate. The levees in Tulsa are the #1 life safety issue in the entire country. We are long overdue on to make sure that we're stabilizing those levees. All of us were holding our breath in 2019 through the severe flooding that was happening in Tulsa. The levees held, but we've got to be able to not just hope they fail. We've got to actually be able to do the work. So for years, I've worked with the county, with the levee districts, with the Corps of Engineers, with the state to be able to pull all partners together to be able to get these levees actually repaired. We finally signed the final documents. We're working towards design agreements now. In about 18 months, we're going to not talk about levees. We're going to actually be turning dirt and to actually do the levee repair work and stabilization that needs to be done for the long-term stability of the entire river area. So it is really important, but a very big step was just taken that no one noticed. And that was the signing of all these documents that can move us to the next level and finally get us towards turning dirt.